Hello everyone. Today we are here to do chapter 7, The Necklace, from the supplementary book Footprints Without Feet. This is a beautiful story written by French author Guy de Maupassant. Let us see and read a few lines about the author first. Henri Rene Albert Guy de Maupassant was born on 5 August 1850 and died on 6 July 1893. He was a French writer and remembered as a master of the short story form and as a representative of the naturalist school of writers who depicted human lives and destinies and social forces in disillusioned and often pessimistic terms. He wrote some 300 short stories, 6 novels, 3 travel books, and 1 volume of verse, that is poetry. This chapter, which is titled as The Necklace, uh, what is the introduction to the lesson? The story revolves around a selfish lady named Matilda. She is unsatisfied with her life as she wants a rich husband, but because she belongs to a family of clerks and her family is unable to give dowry, so she is married to a clerk. One day, both the husband and wife are invited to a party at the minister's house, but Matilda doesn't have good clothes and choose to wear at such a party. Her husband suggests her to buy a dress and ask an old friend for jewelry. She then borrows a necklace from her friend and goes to the party. What happens next proves to be a lesson for the unhappy lady. As we read about the author, that he wrote about people, or he wrote about the destinies, the lives and social forces in disillusioned terms. So similarly, through this story, the writer gives us a very important lesson that we should be happy and contented in whatever we have, because in this fast paced world, we generally do not take into consideration the blessings God has given us. When we are not content with what we are and what we have, normally it leads to dissatisfaction, and that can take us to bigger disasters also, as it happens in this story to the central character of the story. So the necklace describes this unfortunate disaster that befalls this lower middle class woman who was never content with her life, and she always felt sad at the absence of a lavish lifestyle. And one day, when she borrowed this diamond necklace from a rich friend in order to attend a ball, that's a dance party, unfortunately, she lost, and then she had to undergo a difficult struggle to compensate that loss. And what she had to go through, that we have to read in the story. So let us start with the explanation and the story. She was one of those pretty young ladies born as if through an error of destiny into a family of clerks. So, this is the first line the author starts this chapter with. She here refers to the central character of the story, Mathilda, who was very pretty, a very beautiful girl, but she was born into a family of clerks where she had no dowry, she had no hopes, no means of becoming known and loved and married by a man either rich or distinguished. She always used to consider herself that she is born for the luxuries and delicacies of life. She is not the one who is meant to suffer from poverty of an apartment and the shabby walls and the one chair. All these things, they tortured and angered her. When she seated herself for the dinner opposite her husband, because she was married to a very humble clerk, though her husband is a humble clerk who works with the education department, Ministry of Education department, yet he is very loving. He always takes care of Matilda's happiness. He's ready to do everything to what can make her happy. But she, being such a woman who never is satisfied with whatever life has given her, she never finds any sort of happiness in her life. So, all these things that tortured and angered her. When she seated herself for dinner, usually this was their daily routine, opposite her husband, who uncovered the tureen with a delighted air, saying, Tureen is because we Indians are not accustomed to this kind of table manner. Generally, in Europe or in countries like France, people they serve in the containers, and the cover of that container, the dish that contains the cuisines, eatables, is known as tureen. So when he uncovered the tureen with a delighted air, he used to make the atmosphere happy. This is about Matilda, that she was one of those pretty young ladies born as through an error of destiny into a family of clerks. Probably destiny had made an error by giving her birth into a family of clerks. She had neither frocks nor jewels, nothing, and she loved only those things. So when you have not all those things which you keep on craving for, results in frustration. Same happened with Matilda. So this is the point where I left, and you can see this serving dish in the center with a cover, that is what you call tureen. So when she seated herself for dinner opposite her husband, who uncovered the tureen serving bowl with a delighted air, saying, "Oh, the good pot pie! I know nothing better than that." So whatever she cooked, he would always admire that with a open heart. He would just admire her cooking, but she would never feel happy. She would think of elegant dinners, of shining silver. She thought of the exquisite food served in a marvelous dishes. So whatever they had at their place, the love, the warmth, the appreciation from her husband, she never admired that. Rather, whenever her husband admired, she was always lost in her thoughts. She always thought about silver cutlery and the food served in beautiful dishes, etc. When the husband said about her cooking, she would think of elegant dinners. She had neither frocks nor jewels, nothing. She loved only those things. She had a rich friend, a schoolmate at the convent, who she did not like to visit because she thought that her friend is rich and she is not, so she would be making fun of her. She suffered so much when she returned. She wept for whole days from despair and disappointment. It generally happens when people, those who look at those who are either richer than us, or who are having bigger houses, big cars, and fat, big bank balance. So, if we keep on comparing our lives with others, it would always result in sadness, frustration. Rather, we should learn to be happy with what God has given us. So, one evening, her husband returned from office, elated, happy, bearing in his hand a large envelope. Here, he said, "Here is something for you." As you can see in the picture, he had an envelope in the hand. So instead of being delighted, she threw the invitation, because this letter actually was an invitation from the minister himself. The minister is a big personality, and if the minister had invited all his staff members who worked in his ministry to come and attend the ball, that was an honor for everybody. But Matilda was not happy. Her husband said, "But my dearie, I thought it would make you happy." And Matilda, showing her bad temper as always, she said, "What do you suppose I want with that? Why shall I be happy?" The husband said, "Because you never go out, and this is an occasion, and a fine one, because everybody wishes, it's a select position, everybody wishes that your employer has asked you to come, so you will see the whole official world over there." So Matilda looked at her husband with an irritated eye and declared impatiently that she would not be going to the party, to the ball, because she did not have any beautiful dress and matching jewelry to wear. "It seems very pretty to me," the husband said, "but you have many dresses. You have a dress that you wear when we go to the theater, and I like that dress." He was silent. stupefied in dismay at the sight of his wife weeping because she started crying when he said these words. He stammered, "What is the matter, Matilda?" And outwardly, she was trying to control her anger, but somehow she responded in a calm voice. After wiping over her tears, she said, "Nothing, only I have no dress, and consequently, I cannot go to this affair." So she rejected the idea of going to the ball, to the party. This is how probably the invitation would have come. The husband is trying to persuade her that you have many beautiful dresses and you have some jewelry also. Why don't you try some of those pieces? But Matilda was not ready to listen. She thought of an amount because when her husband was trying to persuade, so she kept on thinking in her mind how much amount she would be needing to buy a dress. So she thought of an amount that would neither be refused by the husband nor it would scare the poor clerk. Then she said that she would be able to manage a dress in 400 francs. The husband, in order to calm her down, said that she could buy a new dress for herself and he would pay the money for it. So she said that she would manage to buy a dress in 400 francs because francs is the currency of France. We are reading a story from France. When he heard 400 francs, he turned a little pale because it was the exact amount that he had just saved to buy a gun because he wanted to go to some hunting parties next summer with his office colleagues, or he wanted to go to shoot larks on Sundays. Nevertheless, he answered, "Okay, I'll give you 400,000. Sorry, not thousand." He said, "I'll give you 400 francs." See how nice and understanding the man was. So finally, the day of the ball, before it approached, she brought a beautiful, pretty dress. But still, she wasn't happy. And one evening, the husband said, Mr. Loisel said to Matilda, "What happened with you? What's the matter? You still aren't happy?" She said, "I'm not happy because I do not have any matching jewelry to wear with it." The husband said that it's okay, you can wear any of your jewelries that you already have. She said, "No, I don't want to look poor because if I would wear that jewelry, I would look poor and it is not going to match with my dress. So I don't want to have this poverty stricken look on my face." She said, "In that case, I would prefer not to go to the party." He replied, "Why don't you wear some natural flowers? In this season, they look very chic, means they look very elegant and fashionable." Like this suggestive picture, the girl is wearing some natural flowers. So he said that you can wear some jewelry that is made up of natural flowers. This was his plan to go with his friends, to go for fishing, to go for hunting, but still he sacrificed the money for the dress of his wife. And the wife, when he suggested about the natural flower jewelry, she became angry. Then her husband suggested that she could go to her friend, Ma'am Forestier. This MME dot suggests Madam because that's the way to write Madam in French. So he asked her to go to one of her friends who was very rich, and her name was Madame Forestier, and to take a piece of jewelry from her for a day. Matilda, on this thought, on this idea, she became happy. She went to Madame Forestier the next day and she shared everything with her and she asked if she could borrow a piece of jewelry from her. Madame Forestier, who was a good friend, she did not hesitate even once and she showed her everything that she had. She showed her the bracelet and some pearl collars and then some Venetian cross of gold and jewels. But Matilda was not happy with any of the pieces of jewelry. So she decided to not take, but finally, when she was about to leave, Ma'am Forestier showed her two more boxes of jewelry, and in one of the boxes that was made of a black satin, there was a superb diamond necklace kept in that black satin box. She took it out with her trembling hands and wore it because it was very beautiful. It was very pretty. She was overjoyed with the necklace as it looked very beautiful. She asked her friend if she could lend her the diamond necklace. Ma'am Forestier consented to it. She, without saying any no, she said, "Yes, of course, you can have it." So she took that diamond necklace, she tried it on herself, and when she found it perfectly matching with her dress and she looked pretty in that, she was very happy. So finally, the day of the party arrived. She went with her husband and she was looking very beautiful, elegant, and she was outstanding all the people, all the girls and women present in the party. And on the night of the ball, Matilda was a complete success. Every man present there wanted to dance with her. She was chatting with everyone happily. Even the minister came to meet her personally because she was very pretty, she was very elegant. In the meanwhile, when she was enjoying herself, her husband was sleeping in a room in some corner because he wanted his wife to have fun around and to enjoy herself fully at the party. But he was quite tired doing the work throughout the day, so he was sleeping. Finally, around 3 a.m. in the morning, when the party was over, Matilda came back to look for her husband and he woke up. Mr. Loisel woke up. He picked up her modest wraps. Wraps is a kind of, you can say, a stole or a shawl to wrap it across her shoulders because that was chilly weather outside in France those days. And he didn't want her to catch a cold, but she very rudely put it off because she didn't want to spoil the beauty of her dress and her beautiful necklace. She removed the wraps from her shoulder before the glass for a final view of herself in the glory. And you know what happened? They hired a cab, they went back home. He was tired and finally going to bed. She wanted to have a nicer look at herself once more because she wanted to immerse herself in that beauty of the moment which she had enjoyed to the most. So when she removed the wraps from her shoulder, before the mirror for a final view of herself in her glory, suddenly she uttered, means she shouted a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck. Like this. The necklace, it's not here. I have lost it. She now realized after a long while, the whole way back journey, she didn't realize the necklace was not there. Once she realized, she started shouting that she had lost the necklace. Let's read the further part in the next video.